Hello everyone, this is a psychic prediction video for March of 2025. So this month of March coming up here, currently it is February 24th, but March coming up here is going to be a brain melting month of just lots of crazy energy in the air. I can say that at least. You may feel as though your brain is just completely fried with everything going on, everything being in limbo, just everything going back and forth. It seems like we're living in uncertain times where it may seem like you're going one direction, then you're going the opposite direction. It's just going to be totally confusing. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the visions that I've been having, specifically for March, involving ETs, the energetic influence on humanity coming from these ETs, but also just the energetic shifts on the planet as well. Also, major cultural shifts taking place in March. I've been talking about this since the beginning of the year, since before 2025 started, specifically for this month. Also, lots of geopolitical news, and I will be going over my Bitcoin predictions as well as the overall stock market for this month of March coming up. And also, I'll mention what you need to watch out for in March of 2025. To start out with the most boring news of all, not so interestingly, but the first thing that showed up was Joe Biden in the news. So I was getting the sense that Joe Biden may be taking advantage of something going on in the news and talking some crap about Trump. So we'll see if that happens. Moving on, regarding Trump, I do see him being a little let down due to situations in the Middle East and the countries in the Middle East not really cooperating with him, not really doing what he wanted. So it seems a little disappointing for him, as well as Netanyahu, who also seems to look unhappy for the month of March. The sense I get is that there's this confusing, unsettled kind of dilemma between where things are heading, and it's like, are we committing to this? Are we not committing to that? And is there peace? Is there war? And it's just like this back and forth confusion going on in Israel throughout the month. So it's not positive, you could say, but it's not negative, because previous months when I would tune into the situation, I would just see explosions and horrible things happening. So I don't really see that for March. So I would say in that sense it's positive, but it's negative in the sense that there's not really a conclusive deal being held. There may be deals, but I see it kind of going back and forth. And unfortunately, as I've said before, I don't really see the fighting ending entirely. It does seem to drag on and on and on throughout the year of 2025. Now, on to some of the more interesting information that I'm getting regarding March is the ET ships above Earth. I was having visions of them sending this golden healing energy to humanity, to the people on the planet, and to society, and really shifting the culture on Earth. So the effects of this are very positive in the long term, but in the short term, I was seeing it could create a lot of confusion, specifically the feeling of having brain fog and like your brain is just fried. I would also like to mention that this is already happening to some extent. You might already be feeling this effect, actually. But in March, it seems to increase drastically. So get prepared for that, because it's going to be energetically challenging, and you may just feel a little kind of like off it could be, a good thing because it's healing energy, but bad because it's hard to keep up with it, and it's like sometimes the body isn't isn't up to date with the frequencies, and so the body has to adapt, and that can be challenging for a lot of people and create this feeling of just your brain being fried. So that may be something that you should, if you feel that way, then at least you can kind of understand what it's about. And I would just suggest taking better care of yourself, making sure you're getting enough rest, getting enough sleep, maybe even doing some meditation. Actually, I'm coincidentally starting a meditation course this month, March 20th, but I'll talk about that later. But also another thing is that the politics and just everything in the world, not just politics, but even on a personal level, it's just like everything is just like all over the place, like this direction, that direction. So it's just like the brain is just scrambled and trying to keep up with what's going on. But moving on to Ukraine, what I was getting was that there's some sort of success that I was seeing coming from Ukraine, coming from Zelensky, coming up here in March. And he seems to be happy about something that's unexpected, something unexpected working out better for him than he thought it would. It seems that this could be related to gaining more land, possibly, or having some sort of leverage, or just some sort of unexpected gift that benefits them. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it could be any of those things. I do get the sense that Putin will be not devastated, but also not so happy about it. And this reminds me that last month, in my February psychic prediction video, I said Zelensky would become irrelevant over the coming months. And that's already started. Just recently, in the news, there's been discussion of him resigning as the president of Ukraine. In fact, there's a CNN article that just came out, like yesterday, I think it was, titled, "Here's Zelensky's response when asked if he'd resign as president of Ukraine." Now, I don't think this is just going to happen overnight, but it is the beginning of what I said would be happening, which is over the following couple months, he just seems to become less and less relevant. So back in 2024, before 2025 started, I was doing the prediction for what would happen in 2025. And March was a big month for me because I was saying that what I was seeing was visions of individuals who were just beaming energy, like beaming light, like kind of like the old drawings of angels or Jesus or something like that, where they just have this energy radiating out of them. And at first I thought these were just enlightened beings, like helping humanity in some way. But then I started to realize these were ETs. And then this was really before the whole drone thing exploded and became very popular. But basically, what I was seeing was that they're not just in the sky, but they're coming down into human society and influencing people. But they don't really look like ETs, they look more like humans, and so people don't really know that they are ETs. The general public, that is. The government does know. The sense that I'm getting is that I was expecting them to be showing up March, but the sense I get right now is that they're actually already here. And that they're actually working behind the scenes with government. And this isn't necessarily just like the government that we know of. This is like, kind of top secret parts of the government that we might not even know exist. That type of government. This is a very positive thing. I do get the sense that they are encouraging more peace on the planet. Now, don't get me wrong. The government has been working with ETs for a very long time. Some some beneficial, some not so beneficial, but this is definitely like a beneficial for humanity type of situation where more are coming in. And I do get the sense that this is going to work and help in the long term prevent us from experiencing something like World War III or some sort of negative outcome for humanity as the timeline that we were previously on. They're helping shift that to a more positive timeline. So what's happening is that the government is getting help from them and learning how to basically maintain control over terrorists and threats of power in a way that is more peaceful in the long term and not having to rely on more negative technology that was kind of given to them by other ETs that may not have been, kind of like playing with fire, so to speak. Things that they may be better off having alternatives to. So they're being given the alternative answers to their problems. I do get the sense that in order for this to properly play out, there also has to be a scenario where some of the leaders are able to slip away in exchange, and by slip away I mean that they aren't like publicly condemned and like discovered, but they basically can kind of, to some degree at least, get away with what they're doing in exchange for cooperating and moving us in a better direction as a whole. And I do get the sense that this is going to lead to a lot more technology coming out, like ET technology, over the next 3 years. So by like 2028, 2027, I've always said is a big year where it's kind of like the golden age, so to speak. But it doesn't mean that it'll stay that way. It seems as though we'll still have problems later on, but it's a big step for humanity, and I see this. 2027, 2028 is the sense where I get a lot of this technology is released. I also want to say that a lot of technology that we have already is ET technology. We just don't know where it came from. So it's not necessarily that this is going to be technology on a whole new level. It's just going to be advancements that we are allowed to have now, whereas before it was kind of suppressed because knowledge is power, technology is power, and if you're a government trying to maintain control, you probably want to keep some secrets in order to maintain power. As time goes along, we will start to experience significant changes to society due to this new technology, and cultural values will shift significantly, especially around the year 2030. On my Patreon page, I do all sorts of predictions for crypto coins, altcoins, and one thing that I was noticing as a pattern was that around 2030, a lot of the major stock market corporations seem to collapse or have a major crash. So when I tune into what's going on, I get the sense that this is due to a lot of this technology that's just slowly going to be released, kind of starting around now until, 2028 primarily, but it will have lingering effects on society that really start to influence society economically, to the point where the old systems of power like Microsoft and corporations like that may start to have significant crashes on the stock market. So also I was noticing that there's this something happening for the next 3 months, starting March, April, and May. And at the end of May, it seems to go away, but it's just like this this shift, it seems as though there's a major shifting that's taking place. And this has to do with the brain fog and the frequency changes and the changes to human culture. And all of this just kind of frying our brains. So you may experience that, unfortunately, for maybe 3 months before you start to feel normal again, like your brain is starting to grow again. And on to the Bitcoin predictions. So for Bitcoin, I've been saying for a while now that it's basically coming down, and I do see that being the case for March. Now, I've been saying that it's going to be in the 80K range, below 90K for a while now, and it's been getting really close. It's been like dipping and getting down to like 92, just like almost getting into the 80K range, but it hasn't quite gotten there yet. Of course, it is still February 24th. Maybe it will get down there by the end of the month. But regardless, it does seem that it's going to be coming down in March. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's what I'm getting. There may be a possible spike up mid-month of March, but overall I do see an overall downward trend. It seems as though it's going to be a slow decline, at least at first, but there could be more of an exponential drop-off towards the end of the month. And this could lead into April also being low for the price of Bitcoin, but it starts to improve a lot later on in the year. So don't get too worried if we see it come down. It does seem to be going back up, so not investment advice, but it might be a good time to pick up some Bitcoin if you're trying to buy some Bitcoin during that time. As far as the stock market goes, I do see a small loss, but I don't see anything too major though. It does seem like a loss overall though. It may take until August for the overall stock market to start looking good again. So last month I was predicting that there would be economic problems associated with Donald Trump. And, we didn't really see any major downward trend in Bitcoin, although we have seen some drops based on some economic data that's come out recently. But some news that has happened just recently is that there are a lot of worries about inflation. Fox News, of all sources, and of course I use Fox News because they are a Republican news outlet, they have an article that recently came out that says U.S. consumer sentiment plunges on worries over prices from inflation and tariffs. Now, a lot of people can argue with me and be like, oh, these are just obvious predictions. This is just what's going to happen no matter what. But I'd like to mention that, I don't say this every month. I didn't say this the previous month. I didn't say this January. An obvious prediction would have been something like, oh, there's going to be riots when Trump becomes president. But I didn't say that because it wasn't true and it didn't happen. So just because something seems obvious doesn't mean that it is obvious. And when I say these things, they are for specific months, so keep that in mind. I didn't say it last month, or I didn't say it the previous month. Another example of this is last month I saw Donald Trump giving Putin a gift or a key symbolically. It was a symbol, a key to something to basically make his life easier. And again, you could be like, well, that's obvious. Of course Donald Trump's going to do that. Well, yes, but I didn't say that he did it January. I didn't say that he did it I did say that he did it February. That was the month specifically that I said that was going to happen. And so February, Trump imposed sanctions against the International Criminal Court, ICC, who have issued an arrest warrant for Putin. So the people who issued an arrest warrant for Putin, Trump has sanctioned. So there you go. Trump is taking away the efforts to prevent Russian influence campaigns. And from my understanding of what those are, Russian influence campaigns are basically the idea that Russia is able to interact on social media and able to write news articles and basically just influence public opinion by posting whatever they want on the internet. So Trump is taking away the U.S. efforts to minimize their effect on the public opinion, I guess you could say. Also, Donald Trump is decreasing the sanctions that were previously put on Russian oligarchs. And he has also defunded the media in Ukraine. So that's kind of a lot of little things that add up to a big kind of gift to Putin. So that definitely seems to be, or has happened for February of 2025. And moving back to, well, actually, hold on. Let me mention really quick that it's been confirmed now from people who have reached out and contacted me that there are people who were subscribed to my channel that have recently been unsubscribed without their doing. And this is something that happens on channels that never happened to me before, but recently, I don't know if it's because I'm starting to talk about politicians by name or because of talking about more controversial things, or if it's just by random chance, I don't know. But regardless, every now and then YouTube will just unsubscribe a bunch of people. Now, I have like maybe 1 or 2 people unsubscribe from my channel on a day. Sometimes, I have way more people subscribed than unsubscribe. But usually it's not more than 2 or 3 people on one single day. I had 2,000 people unsubscribe in just a couple days. That is not natural. If you look at my chart for subscription, it's like this, and there's just like, and it's like, what happened there? And now people are confirming that they were unsubscribed without doing so. So check to see if you're subscribed. And also, you can subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Also, give this video a thumbs up if you want to help me out. Bring that algorithm back up so I can get those subscribers back again. And feel free to drop a comment in the comment section as well. That also helps the algorithm. And I like to hear from you guys. It's always good to hear from you guys. So thank you for that. Another thing that came through for me was China. And China befriending many Middle Eastern allies, many countries, that is. And this is to grow power in opposition to Trump. So I'm seeing Trump being kind of disappointed by this. He doesn't like it, but he also is realizing there's nothing he can do about this. And he's starting to realize that he has a little bit less political leverage on the world than he once thought. So this is kind of a disappointment for him. Besides for just that, there's a lot of political, well, not just political, but power structures, even economic and financial power structures around the world that are just starting to crack. And this has been going on, but this is especially more so being supercharged in the month of March. So this will be a challenging time for all of us, but also a rewarding time in the long run, because it's the birth of something new. This, again, will feel like your brain is kind of fried until around June or so. So it may take a while to get through this, and eventually you'll feel like there's new growth finally starting to sprout after the brutal winter vibes that we're going through. And it feels as though it might not just be winter, but it may feel like winter just keeps going on and on. Even just energetically, even if it's nice out, it might just feel like you're just kind of stuck in that vibe from winter still. So buckle up for the next 3 months because they can be challenging. This is, again, due to positive things, the Earth frequencies are going to be positive, but they're going to be disruptive. Just like any new disruptive technology, it can be very helpful, but it's going to disrupt the old ways. And so your old plans and old ways of doing things are just not really going to be compatible anymore with your current state of being. So your old strategies will no longer work, to some extent at least. So, what is March going to be good for, energetically speaking, and generally speaking? Not expecting too much is going to be important for March because we can get kind of exaggerated in our expectations. And I'm getting the sense that, you know, again, it's the confusion. It's like left, right, up, down. Like, where are we going? You think it's going one way, it's going the other way. It's just kind of confusing. So, don't expect too much, basically, is, well, it's kind of a negative, but that's what showed up when I asked for what's the month good for. Being patient also is what showed up for March. Looking at the long term instead of the short term. That will bring you a lot of benefit because the short term may be challenging. But the long term effect is more important. And focusing on that is important because I feel like we're going to get pulled into wanting to look at March because it's just so supercharged energetically. It's like we may forget to look at the bigger picture and be like, oh yeah, life will continue on past March. So let's focus on where things are heading, the bigger picture, rather than just what's going on in the month exclusively. And it's also a really good month for being flexible and going with the flow. So what is bad for March? What's bad for March is expecting to achieve your goals quickly. Now, I'm not saying that you can't achieve your goals quickly because you can, and I hope that you do. But there's a lot of energy that is conflicting with that. So, try to be a little patient with your goals. Also, it's not a good month for pointing fingers. Um, Generally, not a good month most months, but especially March, it was showing up. So, focus on keeping your head above the water rather than trying to condemn other people, was the message that I got. Also, it's not a good month for trying to protect the old ways that you do things or being set in your ways or kind of being stubborn in that way because it's just not going to work. So, my advice for the month of March would be to get what you need to survive and get some emotional padding in your life for the moments when you feel like you just can't take it anymore. We're all going to feel a little run down in general, so also be a little kind and understanding of other people who are also going to be going through this with you as well. I also want to mention be careful driving. Now, everybody's talking about the airplanes and all the crashes and stuff like that, and this has a lot to do with the energy frequencies shifting, among other things too. But I've also been seeing a lot of just accidents on the road more than usual. And I'm also getting that this is due to a lot of the kind of scrambling of our energy fields due to all this new frequency shifting happening on the planet that I've been talking about for years now. But what I was posting on my Patreon page was that this is going to actually shift into less of a motor function glitch, I guess you could call it, and more so into a decision making glitch. So, March seems to be around the time where this becomes more of a problem with decision making. So, be careful about just the choices you make and coming to drastic decisions in your life, because some of the thinking could be flawed and it could lead to accidents similar to what we've all been experiencing around us lately. Just seems like I've seen a lot of car accidents in the last couple months, and of course there's the plane activity as well. So of course I talk more about that, and there's other things influencing what's going on, but you can read about that on my Patreon if you'd like. But I'd also like to mention that this month is also a good month for meditation. And coincidentally, I just happened to be, well, maybe not a coincidence, but regardless, I happen to be teaching a psychic meditation course, which is a specific type of meditation designed to make you psychic, basically, or allow you to be psychic more easily by making people more aware of the energies and their auric field that are not them. In other words, energy that's not you, but it's kind of in your auric field, kind of pretending it's you, and you kind of think that it is you, but then you learn that that's not really you, that's not your vibration, and then you learn how to clear it out, and you become more of yourself again. So I read each and every single student in this class on an individual level. I will be reading your energy, and I will be contacting you and letting you know what I'm reading about you and your development within the class, not as a way to grade you, but as a way to kind of validate what you're experiencing. Because a lot of people, they don't really know like if they're doing it right or whatever, and so this is to kind of tune in to you and be like, hey, this is where I feel like you could where you're working at. These are the things I think that would improve. These are the things that seem to be working for you. And that just kind of helps validate people and inspire people and help people through the process of this 6-week meditation course. The first video class recording is free for you to watch. Actually, anyone can watch that for free. So it's really like 5 paid weeks, but 6 weeks if you include the free one, which you need to watch before the class starts on March 20th. There is homework. You need to be able to meditate for at least 20 minutes, 3 days a week, hopefully more than that, but at least that. So there is homework, and it's only $120 to sign up for this class, and this will be the last time that I'm teaching it for a little while before we move on to the psychic reading class, which you don't have to take, but you can if you want. That'll be for more advanced students. Now, one thing people are curious about, including myself, was Doge, and not the cryptocurrency, but the government Department of Government Efficiency. Some of the theories are out there are ideas that Doge may be working to destroy the government, to replace the government with a technocratic takeover to replace democracy. Now, I take everything with consideration. But when I tuned into this, the sense that I got was that Elon Musk does not have that intention, but there is a little bit of gray to him. And it does seem that he does tolerate a lot of swampy people on some level. I also got that same sense about Donald Trump, that he is kind of shaking some hands with some people that may be a little swampy behind the scenes. Now, this goes back to my blind readings where I didn't know who I was reading, but I was tasked with reading these people that I didn't know who they were. Turned out it was Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Both of them, ironically, I read as being very similar. It was a a blind reading that I did on Donald Trump a long time ago on my Patreon page, and multiple people commented and said that this sounds like Elon Musk. And this was before Donald Trump and Elon Musk were working together. This is when they were kind of like on opposite sides of the spectrum, and you would never even imagine that they would become friends. But now it really makes sense because I was reading them being just like so similar, and both having feet kind of in different places, some more swampy than others, but basically what the sense was that I was getting was that it's like they have one foot on swampy material and one foot on dry land, and it's kind of a mixed bag with them. So it's not as bad as some may think, is what I'm getting though. It's not like that, like a horrible situation or anything like that. But it's also not as simple as completely black and white, you know? So of course you can learn more about this on my Patreon page. I have a free sign up. You can sign up for free, see my free Patreon posts, and get notifications about any updates or whatever. I also have a 7-day free trial, so you can try it out for 7 days, and you can quit and cancel it before you get charged. I will say though that if you cancel it right away, then you won't have access to the search bar. And the search bar, in my opinion, is the best part, the most important part, because it's literally just an encyclopedia of hundreds of different people that I've done readings on, important figures in the world. Not only that, but also I have crypto coins at higher tiers. You do have to pay to get that tier. But the free trial, you have access to all these names, so I encourage you to use the search bar and search for whatever people or subjects you're interested in and find out kind of what's going on behind the scenes. These are blind readings, meaning I don't know who I'm reading. It's remote viewing under blind protocol. An encyclopedia. So use the search bar before you cancel your subscription. You can put a reminder on your phone to remind you the day before you get charged to cancel it so that you don't get charged. And if you want to get charged, then you get access to everything that I've posted on the whole encyclopedia, my psychic reading encyclopedia. Of course, also don't forget about the meditation course as well. I have a free video on that, and you don't need to sign up for any free trial or anything. That is just free for the public without any sort of sign up. So check that out if you want to basically tune more into your own energy and become a little more intuitive. Again, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I want to mention a little bit here about some interesting things I've been discovering on my Patreon page. First of all, the Montauk project. I've been getting a lot of collaborating data with other remote viewers about how there's a lot of truth to the Montauk project, actually, believe it or not. And I recently did a blind reading on Andrew Basiago, who apparently was a time traveler. And I did this under blind reading protocol, so I didn't know who I was reading, I didn't know the context, I didn't know anything about the person, but it did come up that he seems to be telling a lot of truth. Of course, there's a little bit of gray in there, but overall it seems that he's mostly legit. So if you want to hear more about each and every member of the Montauk project and all my different readings on each one of those people and compare it from different perspectives of the different people involved, that's on my Patreon page. I do have another blind reading that hasn't come out on Nickel Preston, I believe. But besides for that, I have a lot of people involved already posted. But anyways, there's world news. I talked about Doge in more detail and what's going on behind the scenes with that, as well as my encyclopedia of blind readings, and of course, hundreds of crypto coin predictions of hundreds of different coins, so you can sign up for that if you want access to those. Again, you can subscribe for free. The lowest tier, if you do want to have a paid subscription, you can have access to all those names for as low as $5 a month. Don't forget, the meditation course is only $120 for a 6-week course guided by me with one-on-one. Well, not one-on-one, but I will be contacting you for a direct reading of you twice throughout the course. And I think that's all I have to say for now. So give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching, and have a great day. And of course, I almost forgot to mention, all the links to everything I just mentioned you can find below this video in the description or in the comments section. So make sure to check those out.